Welcome. You're listening to the Beyond Human podcast. My name is Kat, and I am your host. Our topic today is making the ego an ally, the bridge to higher consciousness. What if I told you that the part of you you've been taught to suppress, fight, or transcend, the ego, is actually your greatest ally? For centuries, spiritual traditions have warned us about the ego. It's been cast as the villain in the journey of enlightenment, the voice of illusion, separation, and fear. But what if we misunderstood its role? What if the ego was never meant to be destroyed, but instead refined and transformed into a conscious partner in our evolution? Today, we are going to shift the narrative. Instead of seeing the ego as a block to enlightenment, we will reframe it as a bridge, a guide that, when integrated, can support our highest expansion. So what is the ego really? Well, before we can integrate the ego, we must first understand it. The ego is not your enemy. It is your identity, your sense of self, as it exists in the physical world. It's the part of you that says, "This is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what keeps me safe." It was designed as a survival mechanism, a tool to help you navigate human experience. Here's the problem. The ego is limited by the past. It builds itself based on experiences, conditioning, and wounds. It creates stories of who you are based on what you've been through, not on who you're becoming. And because its job is to protect, it often resists change, even when the change leads to growth. This is why we feel inner conflict when stepping into something greater. The ego clings to what is known. Fearing the expansion means annihilation. It tells you, don't risk it, stay safe, stay small. But staying small is not what you came here to do. So instead of fighting the ego, we must teach it something new. That safety can be found in surrender. That expansion is not destruction, but creation. Many spiritual paths speak of ego death as if enlightenment requires obliterating the self. But think about this. If your higher self, the infinite divine aspect of you, chose to incarnate in this body, in this lifetime, with this mind, why would it also demand that you erase it? True mastery is not killing the ego, but in transmuting it, turning it from a fearful protector into a conscious ally. Your ego is like a wild horse. If left unchecked, it will run in every direction, chasing fears and illusions. But if guided with love, it can become a powerful force, carrying you toward your highest calling. So the goal is not ego death. It is ego evolution. So how do we do this? How do we take the part of us that resists change and teach it to work with us instead of against us? The first thing we do is observe without identification. The first step is awareness. When the ego speaks, when it reacts with fear, self-doubt, or comparison, observe it as if you are watching a movie. Instead of saying, "I'm afraid," shift to, I notice fear arising within me. Instead of I am unworthy, say, I notice the ego trying to protect me by making me feel small. The moment you become the observer, you reclaim the power. Number 2 is to reassign the ego's role. Right now, most egos operate from fear, survival, and separation. But what if we give it a new job? Instead of seeing it as an enemy, we can train it to be the guardian of our expansion. Speak to your ego as you would to a friend. Say, I see you. I know you're trying to protect me, but I no longer need protection from my own greatness. Invite the ego to be a co-creator of your evolution. Show it that expansion does not equal danger. Expansion is your natural state. The third thing we can do is to merge the ego with divine intelligence. The highest function of the ego is not to control, it is to express. When aligned with divine intelligence, the ego becomes a vehicle for your soul expression rather than a barrier to it. Imagine the ego not as a limitation, but as a sacred container, a structure through which your infinite self can flow into form. When the ego and higher self merge, you become a conscious creator. You can move between worlds, spiritual and physical, infinite and finite, without resistance. And now let's shift from concept to embodiment. I invite you to close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Now I want you to feel the presence of Jeshua entering this space. A golden light begins to descend into your heart, expanding warmth, peace, and deep remembrance. As you breathe, repeat this intention in your mind. I allow my ego to become an ally of my highest truth. I invite divine intelligence to flow through me. Now, imagine Yeshua's presence filling your field. As it fills your field, you feel his frequency. Shuma o ya e ala asa unori a ka a ye atua asi amaya e tua onya aya e sa ia no ra aba ia. Let this frequency recalibrate you. Feel your ego not as an obstacle, but as a trusted guide. When you're ready, take a deep breath in and slowly open your eyes. The ego was never the enemy. It was simply waiting to evolve. When we shift our perspective, we don't just heal our relationship with ourselves. We unlock our highest expansion. we move beyond resistance, beyond limitation, into full alignment with who we are meant to be. Remember, your ego is not here to block you. It is here to guide you. And when infused with divine intelligence, it becomes the key to your awakening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing expansion. And most of all, thank you for being you. Until next time, namaste.